Guys, welcome back to Alex Invest. Now, I know I have not filmed a video in about a week here, but again, that's going to become kind of a regular occurrence that I aim for 2 videos a week just because of time constraints. But I do have a few things to talk to you guys about today. First of all, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they are a good buy right now, in my opinion. I've been buying just because of that recent kind of 40% drop there. We saw it and we've kind of stabilized out now at around, that 35,000, which is kind of the average buy-in price for Bitcoin. Same with Ethereum, right? We're recovering a little bit now, kind of hovering, and that is really good news. Kind of shows the resilience that we're seeing there in general, right? And so I do kind of think these are good prices to get in here. I also think Dogecoin as well. Yes, it's kind of that meme coin, but again, it is one that it kind of is hovering now at around that 0.24, and I do kind of see more upside, especially with Elon. He's still tweeting about Doge, etc. So good things there. Also, ADA or Cardano, I think is another one which I'm personally and I think is going to do well moving forward here. No, cryptocurrency is not done, and we are going to kind of continue to see moves to the upside. Especially, Bitcoin, people are worried about the energy consumption with Bitcoin, etc. That's kind of what started this big drop down. But, really, that's not what Bitcoin's about, and that really only happens in other kind of third world countries who are using coal, etc. to kind of mine this Bitcoin. But in general, the scarcity that we're seeing with Bitcoin and all of that is just going to continue to kind of push the price of Bitcoin up in the future. As more and more people use it, it becomes more scarce as well. Both of those kind of coming together means that the price of Bitcoin will inevitably kind of go up, in my opinion. And so again, I think right now is a good time to buy that. Moving on from that, in general, stocks are cheap right now, right? It's a good time in general to get into the market right now. Stocks have had a huge correction lately. Since kind of February, the tech sector as well specifically has been, taking a huge hit. And lately, inflation worries are back down, right? People aren't worried as much about hyperinflation or even inflation in general. And even with respect to bonds, if you're looking at bonds, we're even seeing, people pricing in deflation a little bit here. So in that sense, I do think it's a great time to kind of get into the market here, especially in that tech sector, that green tech sector. Clean energy stocks, I think, are going to do really well moving forward here in the next few years. And there is a few reasons why I say that. First of all, it's going to be the future, right? We need to go this direction in order to save our planet and in order to keep living the way we're living right now. We can't continue using, oil or coal or anything that creates high CO2 emissions. We can't continue to see garbage going into landfills. We need to start recycling better. We need to start taking on these clean energy initiatives like hydrogen fuel and hydrogen energy, like solar power, right? Like EVs instead of ICEs, etc. And this all needs to happen now. And there's this great documentary which I want to make you guys aware of, and I think you guys should take a look at. And it's called Breaking the Boundaries here. I just have the kind of trailer here on YouTube. And it's called Breaking the Boundaries, the Science of Our Planet, right? And it's got David Attenborough narrating. And it's all about basically the tipping point for our planet of where there's basically no room to return back to how we're living right now. We're already seeing these huge effects, of CO2. And they go through a bunch of different kind of categories, right, of different tipping points that we could hit. And once we see one, we're going to continue to see more and more of those. Biodiversity is one, right? CO2 is another one. And nitrogen and phosphorus is another one. And there's 9 in total, right? One's novel entities, which is kind of the amount of garbage that goes into our planet, or the amount of garbage that we produce that is then kind of distributed around the planet, right? And that's bad for the environment again. And we have another about 10 to 15 years to be able to reverse these effects before they become imminent and we all basically die, right? And so that's why I'm so adamant on investing in these clean energy stocks, these clean tech stocks, and hydrogen, etc. Because this is kind of what's going to be the future. And governments, we can see, are taking initiative already to kind of have no fuel emissions by 2030 2035 or 2050, right? That's kind of the range where we're seeing that. And if we don't see that, if we don't do that, then we will kind of get to a point where we've gone past being able to reverse the trend, and it'll lead the earth to an inevitable doom, essentially. And so that's why I think it is a good time now, especially after we have seen kind of a 40% correction in that clean tech, clean energy sector as well, to buy these stocks now, because we are going to see more and more initiatives here. We are going to see kind of continuing advancements in these sectors, and continued massive growth in the next 10 to 15 years, which people are already expecting in that EV space. Volkswagen is one that I'm actually quite bullish on now. Because I've been seeing more and more of their cars on the road. They function really properly. I actually have a Volkswagen, an e-Golf right now, and I love it, and it's absolutely amazing. So we're seeing it there, but we need to see that transfer over into these other places as well. Hydrogen has taken a huge hit, but I think that's going to be big in the next 10 to 15 years as well. And in fact, it has to be. The infrastructure right now is being set up for that, and so I do kind of see that moving forward very nicely with the likes of Plug, F-Cell, P-Cell, right? Really, there's room for a lot of these companies to do well moving forward. And again, it's a necessary change here that we have to see, and it starts by us as investors investing into these companies as well, and showing that this is kind of the future, and this is what we want to see the future like. If investors only invest in oil companies and in coal companies, well, then that shows the people that run these companies that, oh, this is what people want to buy, this is what we're going to do, right? But if people start investing in these clean tech companies, then that's what's going to be making the money. That's what's going to be growing, right? And so really it does come down to us as investors, what we want to do. And for me personally, I want to invest in this clean tech space, into these companies that are really going to change the world and be better for our futures, right? And so that's why you guys know the stocks I'm invested in. F-Cell is a big one for me. Hillcrest Energy Technologies, XRO, right? Some solar stocks as well. Really liking Aurora Solar lately. They're kind of a company that works on, and it's one that I have not talked about on this channel yet, but they are ACU.v, and essentially they're making technology which measures kind of the efficiency of solar panels, and is able to kind of measure different aspects of a solar panel, and it works with these with the new cell technology that we're seeing coming out right now, and that's kind of why I'm bullish on this company, because of their technology, because of their increased profitability that they see through using that technology with solar companies and with solar cells. And so it's kind of technology that a lot of solar companies would like to adopt, again, to kind of increase efficiency of their products, but also kind of increase profitability because of that, right? So it is a company that I think can do really well here moving forward. And again, it's one that's taken quite a big, 40% hit here, just like all the other kind of stocks, all the other kind of clean energy stocks here, right? So I would very, very highly recommend that you kind of pick a few of these clean energy stocks, especially right now when we're so low, especially also because of what I mentioned earlier about how inflation worries are back down, right? That was a large kind of reason why we saw clean tech stocks and clean energy stocks take a big hit, because of inflation worries. And now that we're kind of seeing those go away, I think there is kind of big upside to be had in some of these, just like Bitcoin, right? 40% drop. Now it's a good chance to get in. It's de-risked itself by coming down that much in price, meaning that it's, again, a good spot to buy, right? Now, finally, I want to talk about Oxy Petroleum and petroleum companies in general, right? They have been absolutely soaring as oil prices have been absolutely soaring lately. And because of that, I don't think it's a good reason to buy petroleum companies right now at all, including Oxy Petroleum. Now, Oxy is a little bit different, right? Because I'm bullish on Oxy Petroleum because of their carbon capture. Same with fuel cell. That's one of the big reasons why I'm so bullish on fuel cell, is because of that carbon capture, right? And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with that Breaking the Boundaries documentary there, because CO2 is one of the big things that we're close to the tipping point here on, and we are actually able to change that now by, you know, with EVs, using EVs instead of ICEs, right, is a big one, but then also being able to kind of have this carbon capture to capture the CO2 from the atmosphere. That is going to be kind of a big in order to actually change the world and reduce these tipping point levels back to kind of where we were historically, and by historically I mean you know, in the entire lifespan of the world, really, going back before, you know, the 1950s, kind of where all this really started, where we really started to see, you know, a huge climb in CO2 levels, etc. But anyways, I would not buy Oxy Petroleum right now, even though I am bullish on their carbon capture. I am not bullish on oil prices in kind of the future here. Let's say in the next year, I do think oil prices are going to come down quite a lot. Now, there's a few reasons for that. First of all, you know, we're seeing more and more electric vehicles. We're seeing more and more electrification and kind of moving to this clean tech space. And the fact that we've been seeing oil prices go up so much means that these alternative energies, you know, like solar power, just like EVs, etc., means that those alternative energies become much more attractive. You know, hydrogen as well, compared to oil, because oil is just so much more expensive now. So that, I think, coupled with the fact, you know, that more and more people are using EVs, using kind of alternative energies here, means that oil prices in the near term could continue to come down as demand comes down again, as these alternatives become much more attractive, right? So I wouldn't really buy any petroleum companies right now, even though, yes, I'm bullish on Oxy. I think there's going to be kind of a downturn in oil prices before we see that carbon capture really come to fruition there, which is why I think Oxy and any kind of oil company right now, I do kind of see them coming back down as oil prices go back down, as there's less demand again, after we kind of see this initial push for demand, as people kind of want to get back out there, right? They want to do stuff. That's why, you know, the demand for oil has been coming up as oil prices have been going up, right? But that is all going to change, I think, as people kind of have done what they wanted to do outside again, right? After being stuck inside for so long, things are going back to normal. I think people are doing a lot, but that's going to change again, and things are going to come back down. People are going to realize they don't need to travel as much anymore. But of course, there's that initial kind of push, right after kind of the pandemic, which is the spot that we're in right now. And I think that's why we're seeing oil prices come up. And I do kind of think we're going to see oil prices come back down. So no, I don't think it's a great time to buy Oxy right now. I don't think it's a great time to buy any petroleum company. I wouldn't really buy any petroleum company other than Oxy Petroleum as well. But Oxy, for that carbon capture, I think is a good buy, but again, not at these current levels. So just keep that in mind, and also just keep in mind that to invest in the future, right? Don't invest in what's doing well right now. Invest in what you believe in the future. And for me, that's kind of clean tech and companies that are here looking to change the world, not looking to kind of see the world stay as it is right now, which is heading down kind of a darker path than ever before. So keep those things in mind. And other than that, that's going to do it for the video today. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave me a comment as always. Let me know what you guys think about all this. And other than that, have a great day. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video.